What is going on, guys? This is Marcia here with another episode of the Lady Strong Fit Cast. And today I have Member Spotlight Addie. Her and we're going to be talking about plant-based diet and getting results.
So the big question is this. How were two women who didn't cheat and purchase a gym franchise model, how were they able to spread their mission and purpose by empowering and transforming hundreds of women's lives through fitness, nutrition, mindset, and accountability with a micro gym business model of women only? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. We are Lady Strong Fitness.
Addie, how are you today?
I'm great.
Good.
I worked out this morning, so I'm feeling good. I got the buzz going.
Yeah, so this episode is going to air next week, but it is Customer Appreciation Week. And today was, I think, for little hors d'oeuvres or whatever we had the charcuterie board. And today's Thursday, so I believe, was it a D1, D2 day? How was the workout? Was it good?
It was good. It was a hard one. It was definitely a cardio friendly.
Cardio friendly. I like how you said that. Cardio friendly. So I know who you are, but for our audience that's tuning in today, if you could please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm Addie Smith. I'm 46 years old now. I'm a vegan, and I've been a vegan for 8 years, and I've been a vegetarian for almost 30 years. So my journey with all this is something we're going to talk about today. I've been at Lady Strong for 2 years. I'm pretty active outside of Lady Strong. I'm into hiking. I take ballroom dance with my husband.
Oh, fun!
I'm a member of a climbing gym, so I climb and I do yoga. So I'm pretty active.
I just learned some fun stuff about you. I didn't know climbing, huh? Interesting. I love that.
Yeah, actually, that started about the same time as Lady Strong, so I'm getting stronger at climbing through Lady Strong and vice versa, I think.
That makes sense. Very cool. Yeah. So I find this topic to be pretty important, and here's why. I just based upon the people that we speak with inside the studio and over consultations, the biggest thing people struggle with is the nutritional side of things. And they struggle with just eating a well-balanced meal, not even vegan. And I feel like you have it's almost a leverage to where it's almost harder for you than it is for them. So if you could kind of share some insight on how are you able to get your sources of protein in, which makes it almost difficult for some people to just get regular protein in with meat. So share how you are able to do that. And then before you do so, I do want to give you a shout out because in your bio that I read, you just came off of the Strong Her challenge and you were able to increase your muscle mass. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know by how much, if you want to share that as well, but doing that by being a vegan, I think it's a testament in itself that, I mean, kudos to you. Awesome job. So if you could please share,
thank you.
Please give us the tips, give us everything.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of surprised by my results with that, honestly, because I haven't seen results like that this whole time. But I think that the way that we're building muscle is helping with, seeing results, basically. Sure. I'm very focused on health and nutrition, and I have been for maybe 6 years. I lost about 35 pounds about 6 years ago. And since then, I've done pretty good at keeping on track with all that. I meal prep pretty much every week. It makes it easier for me to eat healthy, especially at work. I don't really eat out for lunch and that kind of thing anymore. For protein. Okay, so that's been a challenge the whole time I've been vegan. But I've got it kind of down to a science now, which sounds kind of weird. But as long as I kind of stick to my plan, I'm good. I get about, I'd say, 60 to 80 grams of protein a day, which is, I know, on the lower side of what people are aiming for with gaining muscle, but it's hard to get past that, really. There are days where I go over 100, but it's pretty rare.
Got it.
My breakfasts are usually between 20 and 28 grams, I'd say. And then my goal is to have snacks that also have protein. And my lunches are in the 20 to 30, and then my dinners are probably similar. So
got it.
I do a lot of overnight oats right now, that kind of thing. I do like chia pudding, and with all those kind of things, I add extra protein. So I have protein powder. I'm really into the powdered peanut butter, the PB2
Yep.
I add that to quite a few things. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, nut butters. And it's interesting if you're really focused on it and you're adding like a little bit of hemp seed or flaxseed or like nutritional yeast, all the seeds and grains that have protein, it adds up pretty quickly.
Sure.
So the meals aren't huge. Like my breakfast isn't very big, but it's got quite a bit of protein.
Got it.
For lunch, my meal prep is usually something like a salad or like a green and grain kind of bowl. So I do a lot of beans in the garbanzo beans, black beans, pinto beans, all those kind of things. And then when I make my grains, like pre-prep them, I add a product that's called Boon Broth, and it's got extra protein too. So it's added
That's really high
protein to the like the savory protein kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that helps. And you don't really even notice a difference in taste. It's just extra protein, basically.
Very cool. It sounds like you get really creative when it comes to finding different sources of protein, because most people don't think of like broth, but that's actually really high in protein.
Yeah. Yeah. So my anything that I ever cook with, like if you're gonna boil pasta or something, I add protein to the broth. So
Makes sense.
it helps. It adds up. I do a lot of tofu. I have a whole like tofu regime. Like I have a process where I freeze it and then thaw it and then press it and then marinate it and then usually air fry or bake it and sometimes pan fry. Pan fry is the most like delicious way, but you can't put oil on everything. So
Got it. I have a bunch of questions for you. Let's stop for a sec because you mentioned some things and then we can go back. So the first one was you talked about, let's start with meal prepping, because most people have different regimes and how they meal prep. So explain more in depth, kind of paint a picture. Like, do you do it on the weekends? And how long does it take you to meal prep? And how many meals are you prepping? Is it just for, some people maybe fast in the morning, so maybe it's just lunch and dinner, or maybe it's all three. Like, explain like the duration, how many meals, and when do you do it? When do you find the time? Because I think that's
usually, so I work at Trader Joe's and my time off changes every 6 months. So right now I have like Thursday, Friday off, and I tend to meal prep on one of those 2 days. And I make my lunches for the whole week during that time. And I used to do it so that it was the same meal every day, but I'm pretty sick of that. Like, I don't want to eat the same salad by my fifth day. So I'm finding ways to kind of vary it or use some ingredients like say tomatoes are in everything or cucumbers are in everything, but then I'm changing the dressing or the greens or the grains, that kind of thing. And then I pre-prep most of my breakfast for the week too, like the chia pudding and the overnight oats, that kind of thing. Maybe not for every day. And I find that if they're ready, I'm more likely to eat healthy and not choose something that's not as healthy.
Makes sense.
I also prep like parts of the dinners that we make during the week. So like I'll have things already cooked that I can just heat up so I don't have to like come home from work and go like, I don't want to cook. Yeah. So my son is also vegan, so all the meals we make at home are vegan, but my husband's not. So
that was my next question.
He will thankfully eat anything I make and loves it. So
that's good, because I hear some people too is like, well, my husband doesn't eat or my kids don't eat, what makes it difficult because I'm making two separate foods. So it's really nice that it sounds like almost the whole family is in on it for the most part.
Everything we eat at dinner time is vegan, and if I make breakfast for like all of us on a weekend, then it's vegan, obviously.
Very cool. I like that.
I don't prep all my son's meals for the week because he wouldn't bring them and eat them every day, but a couple of them. So
good. How long does it take you to prep? Are we talking like 90 minutes, 1 hour, 45? What do you, from start to finish?
Probably between an hour and 2 hours, honestly. But a lot of mine is also just cutting. Like today, I already cut up my grapefruit and strawberries and bell peppers and everything for the week also. So I have like healthy snacks ready to go, and I find that my family eats healthier if it's already cut.
Yeah, makes sense.
So my actual lunches just took 30 to 45 minutes probably, but the rest it takes time to cut.
I like that. My next question is, and again, there's no right or wrong, but do you find that you're counting your macros, or you just you have it well thought out to where you personally, because you've been doing it for so long, you have it down to a science? Because you mentioned like the amount of protein you get in per day. So I don't know if that was due to experience or due to counting macros.
I was counting them, but now that I kind of have some core meals down, I don't think about it as much. I just feel like as long as I keep on track with what I was doing and have been doing, I'm pretty set.
Sure.
So
And I think
right now I'm not like writing down my calories or my like fat intake or my carb intake or anything, but I have done that, and that was part of my weight loss journey.
sure.
But now I feel like I'm in a steady routine and there's no need to do extra work, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think this is all important information, especially with we have our macro shed um, challenge that's coming up. I shouldn't say
Right.
challenge, a master class. And for people that are watching
Mhm.
today, that's probably never counted macros before, meal prep before. I guess what would be your biggest piece of advice for them? What would you like to share in regards to making them successful within this program that's coming up?
I'd say experiment and really find things that you enjoy eating, because you're not going to stick with it if it's not something that you like to eat,
Mm,
basically. Um, for me, it was about finding like dressings. I'm not a huge salad fan to begin with, but they've grown on me over the years. But it's about finding the things that you really enjoy, because if you look forward to that lunch, then you're going to eat it every day, and you're not going to skip it, and you're not going to go like, oh, I wish I was going to go get some burger or something.
yeah,
So it's yeah, vary it. Like I was saying, don't eat the same meal every day. I think it's
sure.
boring. There's
That
so many good foods out there, like so
100%.
many. My fridge is full of so many sauces and every kind of plant and vegetable, like fruit, tons of fruit.
I love that. I think that's
Yeah,
really good advice because people have a tendency to get overwhelmed and they think everything needs to be dialed in. And like you said, it's just finding something that you enjoy and look forward to eating. Now, you mentioned how with tofu, it sounds like you get really creative with the tofu. You were talking about, I've never even heard of like pressing, like freezing, unthawing, and pressing. So elaborate a little bit more about that because I'm curious. I'm intrigued, me personally, and then I'm sure
okay.
other people out there as well.
So the freezing and the pressing and all that, it started a few years ago. Actually, a customer at Trader Joe's told me about freezing, and I gave it a try. And it basically changes the texture, like totally. Like it, I usually use like a pretty firm tofu, and when you freeze it, it creates air bubbles in it, almost like the water expands and it makes these holes. And so then when you thaw it and you press it and you try to get all the liquid out that you possibly can, then it's kind of like a big sponge.
Okay.
And then whatever marinade you add, for me, it's usually like kind of soy based, very Asian inspired for the most part, sometimes other things, but I'm pretty like drawn to the Asian cuisines right now. It just soaks up the flavor, and then when you cook it, it's so much like chewier and it has more of like a meat texture.
Okay.
I didn't give up meat because I don't like it, so I am regularly trying to like copy meat textures, basically.
Sure. I like that. Yeah, it's like finding alternatives. I feel like there's an alternative for everything, essentially.
Right.
Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
I'd like to end each episode if you had any advice whatsoever for anybody that's tuning in. This could be maybe someone who's struggling with their nutrition, whatever it is. What type of advice would you have for them?
I think that it's okay to give yourself a break. like, I know, like I think some people put too much pressure on themselves, and I'm personally guilty of that. But I found on the days when you don't feel like going to the gym, it's okay to not go to the gym.
Mm,
Like we all need to take minutes to relax too,
sure.
and to like get a massage or zone out or be in nature, that kind of thing. But when you're on the fence about it and you're not quite having those days when you should take a break, just go. Like show up when
I
you're
like that.
there, even if you don't want to go. It feels good to be around these other women that are doing it, and you can be inspired by that.
Very
Just
cool.
show up,
Just
basically.
show up. You heard it first, ladies.
Just
Just
show
show
up.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Addie, for coming on the episode today. I greatly appreciate it. I'm sure that someone who's listening in or watching today can at least take one tidbit and start executing and, making a big sacrifice in their own fitness and wellness journey. So, With that being said, ladies, thank you so much for tuning in of another episode of the Lady Strong Fitcast. Have an amazing day, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or whatever your favorite place is to listen to podcasts. And if you really liked this episode, please leave a review for us on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.